There are some places you don't even dare to dream of going, let alone actually go. They remain beyond everything you have ever seen, beyond time, beyond light, even beyond life itself. It is the place where the heartbeat of the universe stops. When light reaches it, it disappears. Matter is broken down to its very atoms. Time literally stops and never flows again. And in the end, nothing remains. But how can this be possible? Can time really stop? And if it can, what does that mean? The greatest secret hidden in the sky humanity has gazed at for thousands of years lies there. Yes, I'm talking about a black hole, but it's not just an empty void or a hole in space. It is the darkest story the universe has to tell. And if you fall into it, not only your body but even your belief in reality may be torn apart. Today, we are going on a journey of no return. While even light cannot escape it, we will approach it and then ask this question. What happens if you enter a black hole? A black hole is actually what remains after the collapse of a star. Yes, stars also die one day. But some are so massive that their deaths are not like normal deaths. They collapse inward with a colossal force. At that moment, nothing in the universe can be as dense as it is, and that is when what we call a black hole emerges. Nothing that falls into it can return, not even light. Contrary to popular belief, black holes are not dark, they are completely black. This is because no light can escape them. These enormous formations have invisible boundaries around them. Scientists call this the event horizon. Think of it this way, if you cross that boundary, you cannot return. You continue to fall forever. But no one can see where you go, because beyond that point even information cannot get out. In short, a black hole is not an empty void in space. On the contrary, it is the densest, most powerful place you can encounter in the universe, and we still don't fully understand it. Now imagine you somehow embark on a journey toward a black hole. Space is silent, the void is deep, but after some time, things start to feel strange. Time no longer flows as it used to. Yes, you heard that right. The closer you get to a black hole, the slower time becomes. While seconds pass for you, hours or even years may pass in the outside universe. Time is behaving differently for you. If someone were watching you from outside, you would appear almost frozen. But inside, you would still feel yourself moving. As everything slows down, you keep going. This is time succumbing to gravity. As you get closer to the invisible line of the black hole, the event horizon, time for you comes almost to a complete stop. But in the outside universe, perhaps thousands of years have passed. Imagine falling into a black hole while still alive, but outside it's now an entirely different era. That's why scientists say a black hole is not just an empty void. It's also a place where time itself is distorted, one of the things that most confuses physics. Now, suppose time has slowed and you've reached the event horizon. From the outside you're still visible, but you keep falling. This is when the real strangeness begins. Gravity normally pulls us down, right? But in black holes the pull is so strong that the force on your feet and the force on your head differ enormously. If one end of your body is closer to the black hole, that part is pulled much more strongly. As a result, your body begins to stretch, you literally become like a thin, long string. Scientists call this spaghettification. Yes, the word sounds funny, but the experience is anything but. Your internal organs, your atoms, even your subatomic particles are pulled apart one by one. Your body can no longer resist the laws of physics. It is the point where the rules of our known universe stop functioning. But the strangest part is this: for you, it might not even be painful, because at that moment time will already be nearly stopped. You may not even realize how long it lasts. If you fall into a black hole, you're not just going somewhere. The very shape of your existence changes, and that is truly mind-boggling. Here I'll briefly open a parenthesis to discuss a theory about black holes. Suppose something falls into a black hole, a planet, a person, even information. What happens then? Does it completely disappear? According to physics, no information in the universe is ever truly lost. Everything leaves a trace. But black holes seem to break this rule. For example, if you fall into a black hole, someone looking from outside cannot see you. Your voice, your light, your information, nothing escapes. It's as if you've been completely erased. This has troubled scientists for many years. Even the famous physicist Stephen Hawking pondered this for decades. Black holes seem to swallow information. But where does that information go? Does it really cease to exist? If so, the mathematics of the universe breaks down. Some theories suggest the information remains at the boundary of the black hole. In other words, whatever is inside somehow leaves a trace outside. Others believe the information passes into another universe, into an entirely different reality. You may no longer exist here, but perhaps you still exist somewhere else. This is where things truly get confusing. What if a black hole is not just something that destroys, but also a gateway? Yes, perhaps they are portals from one place to another. Some scientists believe black holes could be natural gateways for travel across the universe, like in science fiction movies, where a spaceship passes through a tunnel and emerges on the other side of the galaxy. We call those tunnels wormholes. If the entrance is a black hole, the exit could be another black hole, with the connection acting as a corridor linking two different places in the universe. The exit is called a white hole. The black hole pulls in, the white hole throws out. Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity is not entirely closed to this idea. In fact, Einstein and Rosen once studied such structures theoretically. What we call an Einstein-Rosen bridge today is essentially nothing more than a wormhole. But can we actually pass through such holes? That's the real question. Theoretically, a wormhole could form, yes, but for it to remain stable, it would require negative energy or exotic matter. These kinds of matter exist only theoretically and have not yet been discovered. At the moment, we have nothing that can hold such holes open. So if a wormhole did form and you tried to go through it, it would most likely collapse within seconds. You wouldn't even get near it before it vanished. However, some theories, especially those combined with quantum physics, bring up different kinds of wormholes. For example, microscopic wormholes might be possible in some models of the universe. But of course, to enter one you'd first have to shrink billions of times smaller. This is theoretically possible, but we haven't yet observed it in practice. Maybe one day, maybe thousands of years from now. But even this idea alone is dizzying enough. One day black holes might not just be dangerous, they might be the key to interstellar travel. Now let's come to the main question. What would really happen if you entered a black hole? To be honest, no one knows for sure, because no one has ever entered a black hole and come back. But we do have some theories. Science gives us some possibilities. If you fall into a small enough black hole, you'd likely be torn apart very quickly. That strange process called spaghettification would take only a few seconds, and then everything would be over. But if it's a very, very large black hole, like TON 618, time for you would nearly stop. You'd be drawn inward without pain, perhaps even without realizing it, and we could never know what happens there. Maybe you enter another universe. Maybe you come out of a white hole. Maybe you're completely annihilated. Who knows, perhaps nothing of you remains at all. But one thing is certain. Black holes are not just the darkest spots in space, they are also among the greatest mysteries of the universe. They show us not only the limits of the cosmos but perhaps the limits of our understanding. The more we study them, the more unknowns we drift into. Even if we didn't study them at all, we would still know very little. They keep their mystery under all circumstances, and this mystery will not be solved easily. Maybe one day we'll get closer to black holes. Maybe we'll never understand them. But no matter what, the human mind's curiosity about the unknown is more fascinating than the journey itself.
All that will remain of our once rich cosmos will be particles of light and black holes.
Scientists used to think black holes were immortal, but even these will one day die.